Proverbs 19 has some good words of wisdom for us when it comes to kindness and dealing properly with other people. So let's jump in here and continue our learning. Verse 1, better is the poor that walketh in his integrity than he that is perverse in his lips and is a fool. It's better to tell the truth and be poor than it is to lie. Verse 2, also, that the soul be without knowledge, it is not good. And he that hasteth with his feet sinneth. The foolishness of man perverteth his way, and his heart fretteth against the Lord. So realize, again, being poor and honest and smart is better than being wealthy and false, basically, and foolish. So study, learn, be honest, have integrity. Now verse 4, wealth maketh many friends, but the poor is separated from his neighbor. So not that one seems pretty face value to us. We have to realize that yes, wealth does bring in people to want to hang out with you and be your friend, but really being honest and having that integrity is more important than wealth. In verse 5, a false witness shall not be unpunished, and he that speaketh lies shall not escape. That is true. Eventually we'll all come to that bar of God, that judgment day, and have to deal with the falseness of our lives. Sometimes you can get away with it in the short term, but in the long term, it will always come back to bite you. Verse 6, many will entreat the favor of the prince, and every man is a friend to him that giveth gifts. Have you noticed that in your life too? If you're giving gifts, people like you. If you're always giving things to others, people like you. They're willing to put up with you. Not because they will like you, but because they like what you're giving them. Now, verse 7, all the brethren of the poor do hate him. How much more do his friends go far from him? He pursueth them with words, yet they are wanting to him. So again, you're giving gifts, but you're not providing real substance to people. Verse 8, he that getteth wisdom loveth his own soul. He that keepeth understanding shall find good. So I can't tell you how many times in Proverbs we've read something like that, where it says learning, understanding things for yourself is very, very important. It doesn't mean you have to learn it all on yourself. You can learn from others, but you need to seek learning, not just hearing stuff and believing it at face value. Really understanding it and learning about it is more important to be doing. In fact, verse 9 here, a false witness shall not be unpunished, and he that speaketh lies shall perish. Delight is not seemingly for a fool, much less for a servant to have rule over princes. The discretion of a man deferreth his anger, and it is his glory to pass over a transgression. This is important to think about, is when we are willing to overlook the transgressions of others, when we're willing to look past their faults, that helps us to be better. That's important. Forgiveness is important. Very, very important. Verse 12, the king's wrath is as the roaring of a lion, but his favor is as dew upon the grass. So some interesting, just visualizations of that, basically. So his wrath, he's going to come at you like a lion, just tear you to pieces. If you're in his favor, he's going to help you like the dew of the grass. He's just going to kind of help make your life a little easier and better as you go along, basically. Verse 13, a foolish son is the calamity of his father, and the contentions of a wife are a continual dropping. So ladies, being contentious all the time with your husbands is not a good thing. Just understand that. Same men, do not contend with your wives. Okay, work together. Work together. Verse 14, house and riches are the inheritance of fathers, and a prudent wife is from the Lord. That's an important point right there. If you have a prudent wife, a wife that's willing to work with you and help you, God has helped you with that as well, basically. He is there in that relationship. He helped pull you two together. And again, I think that goes both ways. Verse 15, slothfulness casteth into a deep sleep, and an idle soul shall suffer hunger. Again, if you're not willing to work, you might not eat as much. You might have more resource problems. Verse 16, he that keepeth the commandment keepeth his own soul, but he that despiseth his ways shall die. So this is talking about the commandments. If you keep the commandments, that helps you to further your progression to Christ. If you do not keep the commandments, you will move further away from Christ, making it harder on yourself. Verse 17, he that hath pity upon the poor lendeth unto the Lord, and that which he hath given will he pay him again. So the same concept, this is the third time we've seen it, where they're basically saying the same thing the Savior talked about in the New Testament is, when you do things for others, you do them to your God at the same time. You do them for me. So when you help others, you're not just helping others, you're actually helping God. Basically, he sees that as a good thing, and that'll be his opportunity to help repay you for that. So just realize that next time, an opportunity for charity or service comes up, the more you help others, the more you're helping God, and the more he can bless you in your life. Verse 18, chasten thy son while there is hope. Let not thy soul spare for his crying. Good advice. Sometimes we have to reprove. Sometimes we have to sit our kids down and go, hey, let's help you. You're going in the wrong direction. Let's help you do some course corrections and things. This is important. In today's world where we don't want to offend our kids or make them feel sad, we are doing them a disservice by not helping them to learn how to deal with criticisms, how to accept that they aren't the smartest people around, that their perspective might not be completely true, and they need to learn from other people as well. If you guide them with that to keep them on that good path, it's going to help them in the rest of life. If you just let them go wherever, they're not going to get where they should be going. They're going to be all over the place, which is bad. Verse 19, a man of great wrath shall suffer punishment, for if thou deliver him, yet thou must do it again. Hear counsel and receive instruction, that thou mayest be wise in thy latter end. Again, listening to the advice of other people is very, very important. Verse 21, there are many devices in a man's heart, nevertheless, the counsel of the Lord, that shall stand. I like verse 21. This is a good one to think about, because we can have tons and tons of ideas. But what needs to be the thing that stands is what God says. We can have our own opinions and our own ideas of things. But what God says is what needs to stick and what needs to stay. His perspective is always right and accurate and in our best interests. Not the easiest, but it's going to be the best for us. So always think about that. Verse 22, the desire of a man is his kindness, and a poor man is better than a liar. Rather be poor than wealthy and liar. Verse 23, the fear of the Lord tendeth to life. He that hath it shall abide satisfied. He shall not be visited with evil. A slothful man hideth his hand in his bosom, and will not so much bring it to his mouth again. I like this one. This is kind of that same idea of the old Chinese proverb, he who waits for roast duck to fly in the mouth will wait a long time. You can't just sit around and expect to get everything handed to you. A lot of people are going to interpret this one as a dig against social programs, and that's not what this means, okay? Social programs do good stuff, and we are told to give, and that's what social programs do, is help coordinate the giving to help those who need it. What we have to realize is the intent of the people. Are they a part of that program because they are purposely trying to milk the government or milk the benefits of others for their own self-aggrandizement? Or do they truly need help? That's not necessarily our job to delineate out. Our job is to give. God's job is to know whose intent is correct. Verse 25, smite a scorner, and the simple will beware, and reprove one that hath understanding, and he will understand knowledge. So help those. It's okay to correct people. It's okay to reprove people when done properly. Verse 26, he that wasteth his father and chaseth away his mother is a son that causeth shame and bringeth reproach. Yeah, if you chase your parents away, that's not good. If you think about the whole prodigal son, in order to get his inheritance, usually the dad has to die. So in essence, he's going to his dad going, to me, you're dead, Dad. I want my money. That's kind of what he was saying there. Verse 27, cease, my son, to hear the instruction that causeth to err from the words of knowledge. An ungodly witness scorneth judgment, and the mouth of the wicked devoureth iniquity. Judgments are prepared for scorners, and stripes for the back of fools. So again, everything's going to come around. Karma works. It'll come around. So The more honest you are, the more integrity you have, the better karma is going to work in your favor. The more dumb things you do, the more lying and deceit you do, the more karma is going to work against you when it comes back around. So let's jump over to our next chapter as we continue forward.